Coming to introduction, anemia is the commonest medical disorder in pregnancy, and the prevalence in India varies between 50 to 70%. Most common form of anemia in pregnancy is nutritional anemia or due to iron deficiency, that is known as iron deficiency anemia. It is an important contributor to maternal and as well as perinatal morbidity and mortality as a direct as well as the indirect cause. So these two images are taken from a peripheral blood smear. First one is normal amount of red blood cell in a normal patient, and the second one indicates anemic amount of red blood cells in a peripheral blood smear. Now, how will you define anemia in pregnancy? Anemia in pregnancy is defined as a hemoglobin level of less than 11 grams per deciliter during pregnancy. Or in the immediate postpartum period, if the hemoglobin is less than 11 gram per deciliter, then this is anemia. A pregnant woman with hemoglobin less than 7 grams per deciliter is said to have severe anemia. Now, cutoff is different for men and women, and it is different for reproductive aged female as well as a pregnant women. In men, normal hemoglobin level is more than 13 grams per deciliter, and if hemoglobin is between 11 to 12.9, it is mild anemia. 8 to 10.9 moderate, and less than 7 here also is considered as severe anemia. Coming to WHO classification and normal values for women, in non-pregnant age group, hemoglobin more than 12 is considered as normal, 11 to 11.9 is mild, and 8 to 10.9 is moderate, while severe is less than 8. While in pregnancy, the cutoffs are different. If the hemoglobin level is more than 11, it is considered as normal, 10 to 10.9 is mild, 7 to 9.9 is considered as moderate, less than 7 is considered as severe, and according to ICMR, if the hemoglobin is between is less than 4, it is considered as very severe anemia. So here less than 5 grams per deciliter according to WHO is very severe anemia, but ICMR considers a hemoglobin level of less than 4 gram percent as very severe anemia. In children between 6 to 5 years of age, hemoglobin more than 11 is considered as normal, 10 to 10.9 mild, 7 to 7.9 is moderate, and severe is less than 7. While in other age groups like 5 to 11 years, hemoglobin 11.5 is considered as normal, and mild is 11 to 11.4, 8 to 11.9 is moderate, and severe is less than 8. 12 to 14 year age group, hemoglobin more than 12 is normal, mild is 11 to 11.9, 8 to 10.9, and less than 8 are just same as 5 to 11 year age group. Now, what are the causes of anemia in general population? As we all know that in general population, the most common cause is iron deficiency, and the second cause could be a hookworm manifestation or anemia due to blood loss. Vitamin A deficiency also contributes to anemia. Other causes are malaria, other vitamin deficiencies like vitamin B12, B6, vitamin E, vitamin C, and folic acid. Anemia can also occur due to infections, and it can also be due to chronic diseases like CKD. Now, what are the causes of anemia in pregnancy? As we all know, the most common cause is nutritional anemia, and which is mainly occurring due to iron deficiency. Folate and B12 deficiency anemia can cause macrocytic anemia, while chronic blood loss due to hookworm manifestations and the malaria can also be the cause. Obstetric causes like multiparity, twin pregnancy, antepartum hemorrhage, postpartum hemorrhage are the obstetric causes. Recurrent infections like UTI that causes impaired erythropoiesis can also be a contributing factor to anemia in pregnancy. While other causes are hemolytic anemia, as in pregnancy induced hypertension in which there is hemolysis that leads to anemia, hemoglobinopathies like thalassemia, sickle cell anemia, and aplastic anemia, which is rare cause. Now, how will a patient presents to you? The clinical presentation depends on the severity of anemia. Adolescents, multiparas, twin pregnancies, low socioeconomic status are the high risk factors. Mild anemia can be asymptomatic, but patient can present with symptoms like weakness, fatigue, dyspnea, palpitation, swelling over feet and the body, and there can be signs of anemia also like glossitis, stomatitis, chiliosis, brittle hair, pallor, facial puffiness, raised jugular venous pressure, tachycardia, tachypnea, bilateral crepitation in the lung bases, hepatosplenomegaly, pitting edema over abdominal wall and legs, hemic murmur, and cardiac failure. Now, how will this anemia is going to affect the pregnancy and the mother? There are high incidence of pregnancy complication in such females. Pregnancy induced hypertension, placental abruption, preterm labor, predisposition to infections like urinary tract infection, puerperal sepsis. There is increased risk of postpartum hemorrhage, subinvolution of uterus, lactational failure can also be there, and maternal mortality can also occur due to congestive heart failure, cerebral anoxia, sepsis, and thromboembolism. Now, what are the effects of anemia on fetus and neonate? The incidence of anemia is higher. Higher incidence of abortions, preterm birth, intrauterine growth restriction, intrauterine death can be seen. There is presence of low Apgar at birth. Neonate are more susceptible to anemia as well as the infections, as the stores in the neonate is also poor. There is high perinatal morbidity and mortality, and anemic infants with cognitive and affective dysfunction are also seen. Now, what is the most critical period? Most critical period is 28 to 30 weeks of pregnancy during labor, where cardiac output is high, immediately after delivery, where the cardiac output is the highest, and in the early puerperium. Now, what is physiological anemia in pregnancy? Why there is anemia in pregnancy or hemoglobin concentration is lower as compared to a non-pregnant female? This occurs because in pregnancy there are some physiological changes which includes a rise in the plasma level by 50% and rise in RBC count by 20%. This is wrong. 125 is not there. So the plasma amount is increasing more as compared to RBC count. So there is dilutional hypovolemia. There is dilutional hypervolemia, means the concentration of RBC is low as compared to the plasma. So every woman should undergo hemoglobin estimation as booking. If the hemoglobin is more than 11 gram percent, then we have to continue the prophylaxis. Means even if hemoglobin is normal, that patient is considered as a normal patient, then we have to give 1 tablet iron, 100 milligrams of elemental iron once a day with 0.5 milligram or 500 micrograms of folic acid for 100 days. Means initial 3 months we have to give iron and folic acid supplementation. Then we have to check the hemoglobin after 1 month to look for adequate rise. Management of anemia depends on the gestational age and severity of anemia. Management of anemia can be done at the facility with blood transfusion under supervision of MBBS doctors. Now, every woman should undergo hemoglobin estimation at booking. So what will you do based on the gestational age if hemoglobin is on the lower side? So first we will discuss the management of severe anemia. At gestational age between 14 to 32 weeks, if the patient is in severe anemia category, then we have to transfuse blood or either we have to give parenteral iron. If there is moderate anemia, then oral iron in therapeutic dose. What is therapeutic dose? We have to give 2 tablets of iron per day, or if the patient is non-compliant with iron or patient is not able to tolerate iron, then parenteral iron infusion can also be given. But if the patient is if the hemoglobin is between 9 to 11, that is a mild anemia, then oral iron in therapeutic dose is sufficient. Now, what will be the management if the gestational age is 32 to 36 weeks? In both 32 to 36 weeks and more than 36 weeks, if the hemoglobin is on the lesser side, that is less than 7 grams per deciliter, then blood transfusion is mandatory. And if there is categorization into moderate category, then parenteral iron or parenteral iron plus minus blood transfusion can be given. But if the gestational age is more than 36 weeks, then parenteral iron is a choice, but usually we prefer blood transfusion if clinically indicated. If hemoglobin is between 9 to 11 grams per deciliter at gestational age 32 to 36 weeks, then oral iron in therapeutic dose is sufficient both in 32 to 36 and more than 36 weeks. So this is intensified National Iron Plus Initiative guidelines for management of pregnancy, anemia in pregnancy. If the hemoglobin is less than 11 gram percent, then we have to exactly characterize in which category they are falling. And if they are falling in severe anemia category, means hemoglobin is less than 7 grams per deciliter, then we have to check whether it is in very severe category or severe category. If the hemoglobin is between 5 to 6.9 grams per deciliter and this is an early pregnancy, then we can refer the patient to first referral unit or the district hospital for iron sucrose or FCM administration in case of early pregnancy. But if the patient is in third trimester, then we have to take the patient for blood transfusion. While if the hemoglobin is less than 5 grams per deciliter, that is in very severe anemia at any gestational age, we have to admit the patient irrespective of period of gestation and we have to give blood transfusion. Now coming to the other category, that is mild to moderate anemia, means hemoglobin is 10 to 10.9 or hemoglobin is 7 to 9.9. If this mild to moderate anemia is detected in early pregnancy, then 2 tablets of iron and folic acids are to be given daily. While if this is detected in late pregnancy, means either the patient is having poor compliance or the iron that we have given in tablet formulation is not tolerated by a patient. So we suspect a poor compliance, and in this case with mild to moderate anemia, we either have to give IV iron sucrose or ferrous carboxymaltose. Now after giving IV iron, we can follow the patient after 1 month. If the hemoglobin rise is less than 1 grams per deciliter, then we have to refer to first referral unit or the district hospital. But if the improvement of hemoglobin is more, that is more than 1 grams per deciliter, or if hemoglobin is more than 10.9 grams per deciliter, then we can continue prophylactic iron folic acid dose and counseling of the patient. Now, how will you give parenteral iron therapy? Parenteral iron therapy can be given in a form of iron sucrose as well as ferrous carboxymaltose. How will you give iron sucrose? Iron sucrose is given IV. 2 doses of 200 milligrams in 100 ml normal saline is given over 20 to 30 minutes. Why two doses are given? Because in one vial we have 100 milligrams of iron sucrose, and each with 2 to 4 days interval. In addition to this, we also have to give vitamin B12 15 micrograms and vitamin C 100 milligrams OD at least, because these increases the absorption of iron. Management of anemia can be done at the facility with blood transfusion. We have already discussed this. Now, how will you give this iron sucrose injection? In 100 ml of normal saline, we will give 200 milligrams of iron sucrose, and this is one dose. The infusion should be done within 15 to 30 minutes, not more than that. And during the first 5 minutes of transfusion, the infusion rate is 20 to 30 drops per minute, and if patient does not develop any signs of allergy, then we can increase the dose to 80 to 90 per minute. Oral iron not to be given during IV iron therapy. During iron infusion, we have to check the vitals of the patient, and an emergency tray should be available with injection adrenaline, hydrocortisone, AVIL, oxygen with CPR facility, because there are chances of reaction with injectable iron. A gap of minimum 2 to 4 days is recommended between 2 doses. Means in a week we can give at least 2 doses if we are giving on every third day. Now, what are the contraindications to IV iron? If anemia is not due to iron deficiency, then giving IV iron is of no use. In iron overload conditions like sideroblastic anemia and thalassemia, hypersensitivity to parenteral iron preparations, acute or chronic infections in the first trimester of pregnancy, cirrhosis of liver, acute renal failure, and history of asthma, eczema, and ectopic allergy. The second iron preparation that we can use is iron carboxymaltose or ferric carboxymaltose. This is an IV preparation which can be given at high doses, allowing rapid administration. So, if the patient needs correction at a rapid rate, we can give iron FCM. It is given single dose 100 milligrams and it should also be infused within 15 minutes. It does not cross react with dextran antibodies. No test dose is needed, while test dose is needed with iron sucrose. Ferritin reported to normalize within 3 weeks, less toxicity and oxidative stress, and limited data available for use in antepartum state, but it is much costlier as compared to iron sucrose. Now, how will you check the response to parenteral iron? Firstly, we can look at the clinical symptoms. Usually, the clinical symptoms improve after infusion of parenteral iron. There is increase in hemoglobin level by 1 grams per week. The retic count increases within 5 to 10 days. This formula is used for the calculation of the dose of iron in the female if she is anemic. So, how will you calculate the iron needed by the pregnant female? This is Ganzoni's formula, in which we calculate it by multiplying the body weight of the female into target hemoglobin minus actual hemoglobin. This will calculate the iron deficit into 2.4, and 1000 milligrams are added for iron store replenishment. Now, in this formula, pre-pregnancy weight has to be used for the body weight. If pre-pregnancy weight is not available, then weight recorded during the first trimester visit is used. Target hemoglobin is always taken as 11 grams per deciliter, and 1000 indicates the iron required for iron stores in the body of a woman weighing more than 35 kilograms. If the pregnant woman is less than 35 kilograms, then iron store requirement decreases to 15 milligram per kg body weight, or you can also use 500 milligrams instead of 1000, and this is irrespective of the gestational age. Now, what are the side effects of parenteral iron therapy? This parenteral iron therapy can cause skin rash, arthralgia, low-grade fever, and anaphylaxis, and some rare side effects also. Now, what are the indications of blood transfusion? We have also already seen that if the female is in severe anemia category. Very severe anemia category means hemoglobin is less than 5 gram per deciliter in any gestational age, or severe anemia first seen after 36 weeks of pregnancy. Anemia due to acute blood loss means if the anemia is occurring due to antepartum hemorrhage or postpartum hemorrhage, there is associated infection. Patient is not responding to oral and parenteral therapy. Anemic and symptomatic pregnant women developing dyspnea with heart failure, etc., irrespective of the gestational age. Now, what are the guidelines for blood transfusion? If the patient is symptomatic, may be given at more than 7 gram %. Means if there are clinical patient is clinically symptomatic, means she is developing dyspnea or signs of heart failure, then we can give blood transfusion even if the hemoglobin is more than 7 gram %. Pre-operative patients, or when major blood loss is expected, means pre-op patients, or means a patient with previous to C-section where the hemoglobin is less than 7 to 8 grams per deciliter, or if the major blood loss, like in case of placenta previa or placental abruption, then we have to give blood transfusion. In a patient on chronic transfusion regimen and during marrow suppressive therapy, may be appropriate to control anemia related symptoms if the hemoglobin is less than 9 gram per deciliter. Not likely to be appropriate unless there are specific indications like acute blood loss of around 30 to 40% of the total blood volume is expected and the hemoglobin is less than 10 grams per deciliter. Now, hemoglobin should be the sole deciding factor for transfusion. Should not be the sole deciding factor for transfusion. We have to characterize the type of anemia also. Now, how will you manage an anemic patient during labor? So, the management includes that labor should always be supervised. Proper counseling and consent has to be taken. Blood should be preferably PRBC, kept cross-matched and arranged. Women nursed in propped up position. Intermittent oxygen to be given, and the precaution to prevent infection by aseptic precautions and minimal VV examination. Prophylactic antibiotics are also given. Patent IV line but restricted fluids in pulmonary edema, never withhold diuretic as it is life saving. Now, what is the management in second and third stage of labor? Lithotomy position is dangerous. Second stage, cut short by forceps and ventouse only if you have the expertise, and active management of third stage of labor with oxytocin is preferred. Misoprostol is safe, but the methergin is contraindicated in such patients. Even normal blood loss may be tolerated poorly in anemic patient. IV furosemide given after delivery to decrease the cardiac preload. Now, how will you provide postnatal care and how will you counsel for contraception? Early ambulation is encouraged. Hematinics are continued for at least 3 to 6 months. Watch for subinvolution as there are chances of subinvolution, puerperal sepsis, congestive heart failure, thromboembolism and lactational failures in these females. And we have to tell the patient to avoid pregnancy for at least 3 years. Lactational amenorrhea method, barrier contraception, progesterone only pills, depot medroxyprogesterone acetate after 6 weeks can be advised, and IUCD or permanent sterilization can also be done. Now, how will you check for megaloblastic anemia? So first, while you are making a diagnosis of iron deficiency anemia, and if the patient is not responding to iron therapy, then first you have to rule out dimorphic anemia, which is due to iron deficiency as well as vitamin B12 or folic acid deficiency. So these are the case studies. Mrs. S, 30-year-old lady, Gravida 5, Para 2, Live 2, at 32 weeks of gestation, presents with complaint of swelling all over the body for 2 weeks and breathlessness for 1 week. What possible conditions in pregnancy can cause difficulty in breathing? This can be anemia, or heart failure, respiratory diseases. Her examination reveals that she is extremely pale, means the cause is anemia, with a pulse rate of 114 beats per minute. BP is 110 by 74 millimeters of mercury. She is afebrile and dyspneic with respiratory rate of 28 per minute. There is vulvar and pedal edema also, and her hemoglobin is 6.5%. Because the patient is pale, the cause can be anemia, and there is vulvar and pedal edema. This vulvar and pedal edema is in category is in grade 3 of edema, and her hemoglobin is also 6.5%. then there can be hypertensive disorders also or HELP also.